and you have to be the expert. Clients come to you to solve a problem, not to just do what they say. And I tell clients when they come to me, oh, I want my logo like this, exactly like this. I'm like, well, you can go to Fiverr and save yourself a couple grand.
Right.
And that's one of what I call martial laws, is do what's in our worst interest, do what's in the client's best interest.
Hey man, how's it going?
Sean, what's good, man? How you been?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. Loving life, man. It's all good. And
you always like this on a Friday.
Oh yeah, man.
Talk to you on a Monday. You're a different cat, but that's all right.
Friday, end of the week. I'm happy Monday. It's like, oh man, I gotta gear back up and ready to go. But I'm good now. So, and welcome everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of As Is To Be. I am your co-host, Sean Achimpong, Digital Transformation Specialist.
I'm Carl, sometimes goes by Creed. I'm also a Digital Transformation Specialist as well.
Right on. And today we have a super special guest. I'd like to introduce you to Marshall Fox. Thanks for joining us, Marshall.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Thank you both for having me. I've been looking forward to this interview for a while, so thank you.
Awesome. As of we. And for our audience, I want to spend a few minutes to tell you guys a little bit about Marshall. First of all, this cat, he's a multi-talented graphics designer, content creator, and the founder of 120 Design Studio, which is a boutique design firm which specializes in helping authors, speakers, coaches, solopreneurs in two key areas: branding and online presence. So this cat does it all. His keen sense of design and attention to detail helps his clients increase brand awareness, credibility, and sales. What has it been? Maybe 4 years. In 4 years, Marshall has entered the graphics design space, helped over 600 clients build 120 Design Studio into a six-figure agency. So a lot of growth, a fantastic growth in 4 years. Marshall helps his clients ensure the quality of their visual brand matches the quality of their services, products, and other offerings. He's recently made a shift into coaching and training other freelance graphics designers who are looking to take their business from a side hustle to a full-time gig. Or, I love this, as Marshall likes to say, from good to goat,
Yep.
He also recently started a YouTube channel where he shares productivity, mindset, business tips, tools, and techniques for freelance graphics designers. And on top of all that, when Marshall isn't sipping coffee or obsessing over like color palettes, he's spending time with his beautiful wife and 4 children. So, man, you are a busy dude, Marshall.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, it's never a dull moment in this household. And I'll just throw this out there. 9 times out of 10, you will hear my kids in the background. So just know it's a full house.
It's all good. It's all good. Great to have you on, Marshall. Truth be told, I just gave the announcement to my kids saying, hey, I'm recording right now because they're playing video games. So, hey, it's all good.
Yeah, I did the same thing, but you probably just hear some little feet running up above me. I'm in the basement.
Sean's the same way, right, Sean?
Oh yeah, I gave my little man some time to say, go for a bike ride with mommy, give us about an hour, and then come back. So bought myself some time. So yeah.
Cool.
But Marshall, so glad to have you on, man. I'm a fanboy. We talked a little bit before the interview. I saw you on your YouTube channel, and right from there, I was like, okay, I am totally intrigued. So I'm definitely going to unpack that. And word of warning, when you're answering my questions, I might interrupt and say, okay, tell me some more, right? I might dive into that some more. Okay. But let's start with your journey, right? You being a graphic designer and starting your company 120. I like to hear more about that. And then I promise you, I'm going to ask you more about the YouTube and your other modes of communication. So can we unwrap that? What was your journey like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just throw this right out there. My wife pushed me into this space. She saw something in me that I didn't see, to be quite frank. She recognized the gift that I had, and she recommended that I even get into graphic design. So just a little bit of my background. So around 18 or so, 19, my wife, who was then my girlfriend, got pregnant. I had something to do with that, of course. So I dropped out of college. I got a job at Target. It was in inner city Baltimore. It was a high risk store, of course, high risk area, as security. I was 120 pounds soaking wet, but I was top flight security in that Target. But fast forward, I kind of worked my way up into management. I spent some time at their investigation center, but then I went over back into a store and became manager of loss prevention. So I was there for about 5 years. So my background was kind of in the private sector, loss prevention, asset protection type of space. So from there, I spent a couple months at Walmart doing the same thing, and then went over to a credit union as a fraud investigator and worked my way up into a team lead at the credit union. So my whole adult life from about 19 to about 26 was in that asset protection, loss prevention space. But this was 2016, February 2016. I was at the credit union in the fraud department. I texted my wife. I said, I'm leaving on April 1st. That's going to be my last day. My wife was a stay-at-home mom at the time. We had 2 children, I believe, then. I think so. Yeah, we had 2. Now we have 4. But she's like, "Oh, you crazy? Why would you leave?" We had no savings. I had no real plan, but I did say this. I said, I'm just not the 9-to-5 type. I think I'll go and do insurance, sell insurance with my father, who had been in the insurance industry for about 30 years. I was like, well, I can help him and we can build an agency. So on April 1st, I left. April 1st, 2016, I left. Just took the leap, right? What we call the leap. Yeah. And it was crazy. It was no salary, straight commission. So I was selling final expense life insurance door to door to seniors. Seniors who didn't really have anything, any money set aside to bury themselves. When that time came. So these are like small policies, $10,000, $15,000, things of that nature. So I had a couple great months doing that. Then I fell flat on my face. This is 2016 election season. I bought a batch of leads. We had to buy the leads. So when people saw the commercial on TV, they would call and say, hey, I'd like more information, or they would do that online, and we would have to buy those leads for about $40 each to go see them. So we would buy them in like 10, 20 leads at a time so we can go see these people. And it was really weird because we would show up and they say, oh, I just requested information. I thought you were going to send me something. And I'd be like, well, I'm the information, and try to get into the door and then sit down with them and kind of give them a presentation and hope to sell them. It was very interesting. I felt like I got a master's degree in sales and rejection that summer. It was crazy, but I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of clients, I was able to get people covered. And when people started to pass away, not to be morbid, but I felt good knowing that they had coverage. I try to be a nice guy, like charming, throw them a smile, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't have the beard. So I was looking, instead of 19, I looked maybe about 17. So, I just couldn't sell. So I ended up buying more leads to dig myself out of that hole, but I ended up digging myself into a deeper hole. And it was just a mess. This is the first time in my adult life where the bills aren't getting paid. They calling to try to repo the car. It was a mess. And I was faced with a decision. I said, do I keep going? And my father, he had seen it all. So he's like, man, you just push through. You'll be fine. Or do I make a pivot? So it was a really rock bottom for me. And I had grown up middle class, never missed a meal. We weren't rich by any means, but I never really had that. I was never really saw that, financially, like not being able to, seemed like not being able to put gas in the car, getting ready to come get the car, down to our last $5 for a meal until the next commission check, things like that. My wife said, I'll go back to work. She was a stay-at-home mom. We'll figure it out. I said, no, I can't have you do that. She said, well, what if you do graphic design? That's something that you've kind of been interested in. You took a class in high school. I gave her every excuse in the book. I said, I didn't go to school for that. So I Googled the average salary. It was maybe like $40K a year. I said, nah, I can't support my family with that. Men with egos, we're like, nah, yeah. I need more than that. I need $100K this year. Every excuse. I didn't have an experience, but I thought about it, prayed about it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go for it. So I actually approached somebody online in a professional development community. I'm a part of called Breathe University. It's a community ran by a gentleman by the name of Eric Thomas. He's a motivational speaker. So I
I've
was in
seen
his,
him on LinkedIn.
yeah,
I've seen him
yep,
on
yep.
LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah, so he has a community. So I actually joined that community the day I left my full-time job. So there was a meetup that summer. So I had met a few people, and one of whom, his name is Robert Youngblood. I hit him up on Facebook, said, "Hey man, I see your logo. Looks like it could use some work. You mind if I work on a couple concepts for you, free of charge? I just want to build my portfolio and get some experience." He said, "Man, you'd be a blessing to me. Go ahead, go for it." So I worked on about 3 different concepts, 2 of which he hated. Well, one of them, it really spoke to him. I actually have it up here as a reminder because it's the first logo I ever did. And he said, "Yeah, man, I love it." So he shared it in that community on Facebook and then on LinkedIn, and things kind of blew up from there. Next thing you know, I went from 0 to doing over 10K a month within like 3 months with no experience. So things kind of took fire. It seemed like there was an untapped niche where a lot of people that were in Eric Thomas's community are authors and speakers, coaches, they were kind of in the same industry that he's in. So it seemed like they had no real option for high quality graphic design for the types of things that they needed, whether it was websites, business card design, book cover design. It was a big one at the time. So I started doing those types of projects, and those initial clients, they really helped me figure things out, because I didn't really know how much to charge. I didn't really use contracts and have a solid process. So I was figuring all of that out with those initial clients, and they were along for the ride. So I never forget them. But yeah, that's kind of how I got my start in this space. And since then, like you mentioned earlier, we are a 6-figure agency. By the grace of God, I was doing that from year 1. And, I have kind of a small team now, but it's mostly just me. And I like to keep it lean because I've been feeling a pull to get into training and content creation, which I know we'll talk more about. But I'm like, okay, I can have more impact doing the training and content creation, or I can try to scale 120 design studio as big as possible. And I decided to move more into training and content creation. So a lot of the other graphic designers that are in this space, especially the Black and brown graphic designers, they can have the information that I've been able to use and apply to my business to have a successful career as a freelancer, as a one-man band. Because they're talented, but they just don't have the right information that I've seen. Like I see the same questions and issues come up over and over. So I'm like, yeah, this is where they need me. This is where the world needs me, in this lane, as opposed to trying to scale 120 to make it as big as it can be. So
that's awesome, Marshall. I mean, if I had to summarize that, like, first off, God is good. Second, men, women included, but when you find a great partner, men, when you find a good woman and she gives you advice, our first response is, I don't know if I could do that. Like, they see something bigger than we see in ourselves, but amazing that you take that on and say, yeah, you know what, I can do that. I also love the fact that you look for a mentor, right? I'm a big component of that. I absolutely love using mentors that will really be honest, right? I have some good friends, Sean, one of my good friends here as well, but have some good friends and good mentors that can be really, truly honest with me and say, here's where you need to focus. And then you use a network, using that network to reach out and say, okay, this is exactly the area that I can focus on. Here's the stuff I can deliver, and using that as a way to build your company. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Question. Marshall, I got to tell you, man, I'm feeling your success in this journey. And, and the fact that you've been able to enable and lead so many others to success through your creative work. I'm intrigued, like, what did it feel like reaching a new plateau in 120 and knowing that the business is at a level that now you can support your family through this? What was that like?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it was an interesting journey, because as creatives, well, individuals in general, we deal with imposter syndrome a lot. So, and if you're not familiar with the term, it's essentially second guessing yourself or thinking you're not worthy of success, even though you are. Right. With me not having any formal training, not going to school for design, I always felt like I was a fraud, at least initially. Like, I don't really belong in here. Is this bubble going to burst? I felt like somebody at any moment was going to just call me out and say, hey, well, you don't really have the expertise. You're just faking it till you make it. Right. It's just that feeling that it's just negative self-talk. So that really hindered me initially. But after year 2 or 3, I'm like, okay, this thing is real. I think this is something legit. And people started asking me questions and coming to me for advice. Then I was like, okay, yeah, I think I could speak on this now. And I did put in 10,000 hours into this craft relatively quickly. And I sat there and did the math, and that's when I started feeling a lot more confident. And also, like I said, when people started coming to me asking questions, and when I hired my first employee, I'm like, okay, not only am I able to provide for my family, but I'm able to create opportunities for others so they can do the same. And I felt a sense of responsibility to make sure that I was able to continue to operate at a high level. So of course my family can eat and others' families can eat as well. So the imposter syndrome still creeps in from time to time, but I'm at a point right now where it's like I'm focused on the impact. So with that at the top of my mind and as the goal, everything else kind of falls into place. You know, those limiting beliefs and that negative self-talk, you know, I deal with that a lot less because I'm focused on a greater mission right now.
Yeah, I like the fact that you mentioned imposter syndrome creeps back in from time to time because that's so real. Like no matter what experience you gain, the 10,000 hours of experience, you feel like if someone gives you an offer, you're almost surprised sometimes. Or if someone gives you a compliment on your expertise, you're almost surprised sometimes. Like, really? Oh, okay, I guess so. So yeah, it is a struggle. I have to admit, it is a struggle, and great for you to say that. And I'm sure our audience feels that the same way. From you, looking from the outside in, I see you as an expert long before maybe you see yourself, because I saw one of your videos. I saw your YouTube video, and it spoke to me in such a way. It was very strategic. It was comical. It showed who you are. It showed your ways of working. And I'm a big, strong believer of, you know, using your area to function during our 2020 COVID and 2021, making it work so it's practical, but it's also functional. So
Right.
tell me about the things that you lean on. So I know you're a big component of eCam. I really love eCam as well. Tell me about your YouTube video, what tactics you use, I guess learning to make your business that you lean on to go down that stream, any methodologies or tactics that's useful that our audience could be interested as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a few things because I have a couple different audiences, of course. Like one of which are my clients for design. So there are a bunch of tactics I use with them, and I could kind of talk a little bit about that. So when it comes to all design, and this is something that I also teach the designers that I mentor, is you just want to make sure that you create something that is simple, it's memorable, it's timeless, versatile, and appropriate. And a lot of what I do is for personal brands. So let's say I'm working with a personal brand client. We'll usually start with like a brand strategy session and then work on their logo. So, and then the logo serves as the anchor. It's the foundation. It's the cornerstone. It's like the bedrock of their, what we call a design language. So if the logo is done appropriately using those criteria, simple, memorable, timeless, versatile, appropriate, and of course, unique, then everything else kind of falls into place. And we're going to want to create a consistent design language. So a lot of the times when clients come to me, their brands are all over the place, or they may have a cool logo, but the rest of everything else will be all over the place. But if we adhere to that criteria, everything else kind of falls into place, and it's a lot easier. So I tell clients the logo is the hardest thing, but once that's done, we're able to easily create a nice design language. So that's just a consistent look and feel across all of your touch points, whether it's your website or your social media or your email blasts, any marketing materials. You just want to have a consistent look and feel, because we're creating a visual brand. You already have a brand, right? But a visual brand or your digital brand, it's just your digital reputation. It's what people say about you. It's what people think about you and your business, and the experience that you create for them, and the feeling that you leave them with. So everybody has a brand, whether you know it or not. You know, you have a reputation, but your visual brand is usually your digital reputation. So so that's one of the staples that I use for my design business, because it's taken me a while to figure out, like, oh, well, it's simple. You know, it's easy, just simple, memorable, timeless, versatile and appropriate. We just follow that and everything else kind of falls into place. But people don't realize that, they're kind of shooting from the hip. They're all over the place with it. They may create a logo that, and this is, I don't want to jump around, but a logo should identify you or your business. It shouldn't have to explain, right? So why isn't Walmart's logo a shopping cart? Why isn't Target's logo a shopping cart? Because it doesn't have to be. People know, okay, Target, if you just look at the logo and you didn't know anything about the company, you wouldn't know what it was. Like, you wouldn't know, like, if it was a clothing store or a department store, but it's just meant to identify. It's not meant to explain. You don't have to tell a whole story in your logo. So that's an area where I see a lot of designers go wrong, and a lot of individuals or people who are looking to brand their businesses go wrong. They think they have to tell a whole story. They think the logo has to have a whole bunch of sentimental value. As long as it doesn't fly over the head of your target audience, you're usually in good shape. Something that I recommend, if you are somebody who is looking to have your logo done, just make sure that you really take the time to unpeel the demographics and psychographics of your audience. You also want to identify those and prioritize them, because a lot of my clients, they have different audiences. They may have coaching clients that they work with. They may have corporate clients that hire them to speak. They may have a community that they kind of lead and they're stewards of. So you want to identify your audiences and then prioritize them to make sure that you're crafting something that doesn't fly over their heads. It doesn't have to like spark a feeling within them just by the logo. It doesn't have to do all this stuff. It's just doesn't have to fly over their heads. It has to be something that they can get and understand right away, and something that doesn't make them ask too many questions like, oh, what does that mean? I wonder what that is. What is, you don't want them to do that. If they're asking too many questions, then you failed. So as long as it's simple, memorable, timeless, versatile, and appropriate, it doesn't fly over their heads, you've done a good job. So that's on the client side, right? And that kind of goes along with my other audience, which are designers who I'm looking to mentor. I teach that to them as well, because once they're able to create designs with those criteria in mind, everything else becomes easy.
If I can ask another one,
Yeah.
The way that you were able to come to that epiphany about the methodology, those are your learnings. Like when you're teaching now everyone else, would you want them to go through the same, I'm not gonna say trials and tribulations, but the same experience? Like, maybe ask another way. If you had to do this all over again, would you do it differently to get to where you are?
Would I do it differently? I wouldn't. And I've been through a lot. Like you mentioned, I have over 600 clients. And everything that I've been through, it's put me in a position where I have that level of experience and credibility right now. Like I've been through it all. Like scope creep, I had one project that lasted 2 years because I didn't clearly define the deliverables, the timeline, and things of that nature. So I kind of had to bite the bullet and just know, okay, going forward, I'm going to make sure all this is in my contract. It's clearly defined. All the deliverables are clearly defined, so there's no confusion. So I got my battle wounds in this space, and now, having been through all of that, I'm able to operate differently and tell people, okay, these are the things that you want to look out for. But to be honest, this craft is very mentally exhausting. Coming up with designs over and over, answering to about 10 to 20 people, depending on how in demand you are at any given time. And I've had to learn to say no, because I'm my personality type. I want to say yes to everybody, and I want to, I don't want to rub people the wrong way. I don't want to disappoint. But at one point I was working on 20 projects at a time. So,
Wow.
so answering to all those people is very mentally exhausting. So you're going to get your experience, regardless in this space. So it's not like, oh, I just give you the blueprint, it's a shortcut. No, you're going to deal with people, like as much as you prepare, you're going to deal with clients that, you didn't expect. Everything might have worked out great in the beginning, but then later on down the line, you're like, oh, I didn't know this is going to be a nightmare client, and then, there are red flags you may miss early on. So regardless of the information that I can provide based on what I learned, you're still going to run into unique situations in this craft that's going to allow you to make those adjustments going forward. So by the grace of God, now I'm finally at a place where it's like I have complete control, over the engagement from beginning to end. And it is weird as it is, and we kind of talk about this internally in my community. It's all about control. Like, as long as you exert a certain amount of control in the engagement from the beginning, we're usually in good shape. Because clients try to exert their control early on, just out of habit, and maybe they've been burned in the past with other designers. And I try to let them know, like, you come to me, I don't know what you dealt with in the past, but this is the last stop. Like, you're not gonna have to leave me and go somewhere else and you get it redone. Like, that may be what you're used to, but I try to pride myself on being the last stop for the client. Not to say I'm the only designer to ever work with, but I'll set them up for success for years to come, where other designers will thank me, like, oh, I don't, whoever this guy was that did all of this stuff for you, I appreciate it. I have all the files I need. I'm able to easily adopt this design language and your future designs and stuff like that.
Yeah, that if I can jump in, the control you speak of, I can see that could be invaluable to a business or a solopreneur or someone looking to start a business, because it seems like it's not only the creation of a logo, but really envisioning what your brand, your service, how it'll provide value going forward,
Yeah.
And then have it manifest in a visual representation.
Right.
For clients and new customers, is that initial exercise, almost envisioning, if I'm using the right words, what do you see from them? Is it a challenging exercise for them to envision the future with so much clarity, or what's that back and forth like with the client in the initial envisioning stages?
Yeah, it really just depends on where they are in their business. I've dealt with clients who, when I ask them specific questions in our brand strategy session, they get it right away. And other clients I ask these questions to, it may take a bit more digging and reflection to uncover what they need to uncover. And a lot of time is spent on their brand attributes, like how would clients or prospective customers describe them? What voice and tone do they use in their messaging to the client? What makes them unique? What makes them uniquely qualified to not only meet their prospective clients' needs or customers' needs, but exceed them? Because we want to position you in a way that you just don't fall by the wayside and fall into the crowd of all other businesses and service providers. You want to stand out above everyone else, right? Or as we call it here, going 120. You want to be 120. So that's 120%, giving 120% everything that you do, rather than just 100%. You want to just be a little bit better than everybody else. Whether that's how you position yourself and your messaging, and then in the providing of your service. So some clients it's easy, some clients it's a little more difficult, but yeah, it's kind of like a sparring session in a way. You may leave a little bruised, I don't want to say bloody, out of the session, but you're gonna have a lot more clarity on the business. And a lot of clients, they really thank me. They're like, man, my business has been booming, but I've never really dissected it in this way to figure out like how I'm positioned right now, and how I want to be positioned for these specific people, and we even name their audience. You know, like, what is this person's name? Is it Susan? Like, is she married? What's she dealing with on a day-to-day basis? Not just in work, or her business, but in her personal life. Like, how many kids does she have? What are her kids doing? We really want to understand this person so we can speak to them and capture their attention. Because it's an attention economy right now. Like, you know how it is on social media. It's all about attention. Who can get the attention of the customer? So we take all of that. Like, that whole session really informs everything that we do from a design standpoint. So yeah, I think it's really transformative for them, and it allows us to like, once that's done, the logo's done, we kind of have that buy-in, and we walk in hand in hand each step of the way. Things become a lot easier, but it's like you got to have that initial difficult conversation up front.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense, Marshall. I'm curious, now that you reached this stage, we talked a little bit off camera, but you have some next things that you're, I guess, focusing on. Do you want to elaborate on that and how you go about doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mentioned Eric Thomas earlier in the interview. So he's a world-renowned motivational speaker. He's an author. He's a pastor. He has about 2 million followers on Instagram. So he's definitely a force, right? And When I first left my job, he was somebody who I listened to a lot on YouTube for motivation, right? When I was in that season where I really needed it. Um, so he talks about the 3 I's. It says information, income, and impact. So get the information, right? Use the information to make the income, and then use the income to make an impact. So I've been feeling a pull recently to get into that third phase, which is impact. It's just something that's been on my heart for a while now. And I just don't want to have all the fun and make all the money in this space. There's enough out here for all of us. So, and I see a lot of other designers are struggling financially. And I really sat back and thought about, okay, these are my designs, these are their designs. Why are they struggling and I'm not? So it really came down to lack of information. So I want to be able to provide the information I've been able to apply to my business to have success and give it to them. Like just give it away. Because I want them to be able to have success, be able to do this full time, feed their families like I've been able to do. And I'm only one person, and like I told you, I'm not really scaling 120 the way I could. So why not pass those opportunities off to them? So my goal this year is to give away 6 figures worth of business, 6 figures worth of like referrals. It used to be to make 6 figures. Now it's like to give away 6 figures. Because by the grace of God, I get a lot of leads. People want to work with me, but I'm only one person and I'm taking less and less clients by the day. So I like to be able to have a nice backlog of people, like a nice bench of other talented designers who are looking for opportunities to plug these leads into. So that's where I am right now. I started a YouTube channel to give people tips, tools, strategies as it relates to like mindset, productivity, and business, because those are the areas where I see that they're lacking the most in those areas. Like, like I mentioned, the imposter syndrome, just having the right mindset and knowing, yes, you can charge, higher rates. Not everybody's broke. There's a misconception that, oh, well, I only work with Black clients, that's why I'm broke, because they don't have money. Like, no, that's false. 99% of my clients are Black as well, and they're not broke. Like, and yes, last year was COVID, but we doubled our revenue last year during COVID. So it's like these excuses that we tell ourselves, like, people are still spending money. There's a lot of money out here to be made. It's no shortage of money out here. So it's those types of beliefs that I see designers have that I want to let them know that's a myth. That's a myth. You have to position your business the right way. You have to get clear on who it is that you serve. Do you want to be a jack of all trades, or do you want to have expertise in a specific area? And you have to be the expert. Clients come to you to solve a problem, not to just do what they say. And I tell clients when they come to me, oh, I want my logo like this, exactly like this. I'm like, well, you can go to Fiverr and save yourself a couple grand.
Right.
And that's one of what I call martial laws, is do what's in our worst interest, do what's in the client's best interest. If you already know what you want on your logo and that's what you're sticking to, I'm not just going to take your money and do it, even though I could. I'm going to send you to a better fit for you. I'm going to send you somewhere that's a better fit, where you can save some money and tell them exactly what you want, and they'll do it, and move on. So yeah, I'm just in a place where I just want to share what I've been able to apply to my business with other designers so they can have some success. It's going to be up to them to implement it, and it may not work. Everything that worked for me may not work for them, and I understand that, but I got to get this out while I'm here, right?
Definitely an inspiration, and I'm very inspired by just be it your journey and your success, and just the depth of wisdom and experience that as you're talking, it's making me really reflect on my growth in a small business, and just my learning and my ability to provide value to customers. So yeah, this has been really incredibly powerful. Marshall, how can people follow you and even learn more about 120 Design Studio Services?
Absolutely. Yep. So my website is 120designstudio.com. So that's 120designstudio.com. So that's my website, where if you wanted to work with me for design, you could fill out our form there. I will let you know though that I'm not accepting very many clients at this point. So but still, I still like to learn about what you have going on, and if I can't service you, I can still plug you in with somebody in my network that will be able to do a great job for you. And also, you can find me on YouTube primarily. I'm not really active on Instagram or Facebook, but if you wanted to follow me on Instagram, it's just Marshall Fox. It's MarshallFall. FOX. So 2 L's on Marshall, 1X on Fox. And then on YouTube, it is youtube.com/MarshallFox120. Or I also bought a domain, youtube.com, but it's spelled how I pronounce it. Since I'm from Baltimore, it's YEWTEWB.com.
That's so funny.
So that'll take you right to my channel. So yeah, I'd love to see you there. Working on a commercial. I told the guys off camera, I'm working on a commercial, but once I'm finished that at the end of this month, I will be turning my sites to my channel. So I'll have a lot more videos coming soon.
Awesome. Looking forward to it, man.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Sure.
Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on, man. And I look forward to following you on all those different things. But truth be told, I love your YouTube channel. So that's where I'm going to get most of your content, man.
Yes.
Ability to learn from you is really where it's at right now. That's really cool. So, and there you have it, folks. Thank you again, Marshall. This has been fantastic. Thank you for joining us. Carl, brother man, it's a peach as always. Thank you again.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you guys. Thank you guys again. This was wonderful. And I told the guys off camera that I'm not really doing any interviews right now. You just in this quarter, because I have a lot, my hands are in a lot of different pots, and I have the wife and kids. So I prioritize them more so than these type of things. But I had to, when Carl reached out, I was like, man, I saw a couple of his videos. I said, I have to be a part of this. The mission, I'm all for it. I love the vibe. These guys seemed amazing. So I'm honored that you even chose to interview me. So I think this will be good one, a good one.
Thanks, man. The honor is us. The honor is ours.
Yeah, man. Just in closing, and this is for our audience, I just want to tell everyone again, stay cool, everybody. And remember, you can live your life as is, or you can chase a dream of where you want your future to be. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.